glad you guys could join us. We're hoping to provide these videos each week just to give a little 10 to 15 minute video with a launching idea as you meet with your group, or you're by yourself, or you're working with maybe one other person through the Shattered Devotional. Just a little bit of extra material to launch into your discussions. And this week in the Shattered Devotional, we are talking about the accuser and accusations. So I am joined by Pastor Keith and by Maddie Lee, one of our Trellis students, and just want to ask you guys, what do you think of when you hear accuser or accuse?
You can go ahead first if you
Sure. Yeah. To me, the word accused is really heavy. It makes me think of like when you're in a courtroom and there's fingers pointing at you. No matter what, the word accused feels like you're guilty, even if you didn't do the thing. To me, I think of feelings like shame, fear, defensiveness, especially if you didn't do the thing. All eyes are on you, waiting for a verdict.
Yeah, it's kind of like really heavy.
Yeah, and alienating. Like you feel
Yeah.
alone. Yeah.
For me, it's kind of like an embarrassment of, or nervous, what have I been found out of? Or is there something that will cause me to lose, whether it's an opinion from people, but also defensive. Because when someone accuses me, first thing I can think of is who said it. So I can go back and defend myself against them. And so it's kind of that defensiveness that, when you hear being accused of something.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. And it's interesting to think about those ideas because those are natural gut responses.
Yeah.
And the book of Job starts with this picture of like this courtroom scene where the accuser is coming in and he is attacking Job. And a lot of it is he's attacking him with hearsay.
Yeah.
He only follows you because it's like this guess, this idea, and you feel that tension and that desire to defend just spring up instantly. And so we're introduced to this person that is just simply called the accuser in the book of Job in chapters 1 and 2. And honestly, we often associate that with the devil or with Satan. And the reason why we call him Satan is that we actually get the name Satan from the Hebrew word for accuser, which is Satan. And so that's where he actually earns his name. He is the accuser. And it's easy for us as we read the book of Job to look at that and to feel that weight. I mean, the series is called Shattered.
Right.
And so we're talking about this idea of when life falls apart. And, sometimes we have to start at that very first part because we can identify with the idea of accusations.
Right.
Accusals. Accusals? Is that even a word? We're going to make it a word.
Yeah.
But reality is we don't just have the book of Job. And living in the light of Jesus and as Christians with the New Testament, we have to understand that we have a different relationship with the accuser than even Job had in his story. And so there's a couple verses that I just wanted to share with you. I know that as you work through your table talk, some of these verses are actually listed. But there's this reminder that Peter gives to the early church in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, where he says, watch out, stay alert, watch out for the enemy, the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. But then I really love Revelation 12. Because Revelation 12, it's halfway through this book, and sometimes the book of Revelation scares us, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But Revelation 12, we have this picture as they're singing this song about God's victory. And in Revelation 12, verses 9 through 11, it says, "This great dragon, the ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, the one who deceived the whole world, has been thrown down to the earth with all of his angels. Then I heard a loud voice shouting across the heavens, 'It has come at last. Salvation and power and the kingdom of God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters has been thrown down to earth, the one who accuses them before God day and night, and they have defeated him by the blood of the Lamb and by their testimony. And they did not love their lives so much that they were afraid to die. So as you think about some of these verses, so Job, you've got this accuser standing in the courtroom. We get to the New Testament and we see how the story has changed with the accuser because of what Jesus did. What are some of your thoughts as you hear like the 1 Peter passage about watch out, he's prowling, he's roving around, and yet also Revelation 12 about the fact that he's been defeated?
Yeah.
I love when I was thinking of those verses, it kind of made me think of how in Peter, he's talking about be careful, watch out, because Satan is trying to trap us.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with Job, he's kind of like, in Job, he's only following you because you've always protected him, you've given him everything. Where in Peter, he's talking about watching out because if he can trap us and mess us up, then we aren't really who we claim to be. We're not really that child of God. Because look, you've messed up. And it's easy for him to use that against us and cast doubt into our own minds.
Yeah.
But I love when you turn it to Revelation where but even if that is the case, he's going to redeem us and restore us and has already defeated Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I was thinking of those verses.
Yeah. No.
You had an interesting thought about 1 Peter 5.
Yeah, I thought that one was really interesting. It's a warning. It tells us to be alert, not necessarily paranoid, but aware of the enemy, because he's hunting. He's not unstoppable, but he's hunting. The verse doesn't say that he's a devouring lion, but looking for someone to devour.
Oh, wow.
We have a choice to resist him.
Yeah,
We have that choice laid out for us.
Yeah, it's not that he's this unstoppable force, that
Yeah.
we're powerless.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. My favorite thing about Revelation 12 is the fact that when you read that verse, sometimes we think that Revelation is all happening in the future, that we're just waiting for this, that someday there will be victory. But I love that it says that he was defeated by the blood of the Lamb.
Yeah.
It means the accuser is already defeated. Like you said, he's not a devouring lion. He's just acting like it. He's just prowling. He's just looking. He's just angry. He lost.
Yeah.
He's a sore loser.
Yeah.
But I love that idea that it's the blood of the Lamb has already defeated him.
Yeah.
And then the word of our testimony, the way we live, it
Present day.
matters.
Yeah.
It matters. I mean, you had thought about that too when you were looking at Revelation 12, right?
Yeah, the word of our testimony, like our lived out faith, it silences those lies that the accuser has at us. Like we know it's true because of the way that we live and because of our testimonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in 1 Peter, that's something that Peter talks about is when people make those accusations, because the world's going to point fingers at us.
Yeah.
It's not just the accuser, but there's other people pointing fingers at us, but by the way that we live, it silences the accusations.
Right.
I think that's really cool. So then, what do we do? We're here, we're studying the book of Job. It can be intimidating, because Job is a difficult book. What do we do as people who follow after Jesus, who are trying to learn what it looks like to live in this world that's still broken, that's still messed up, and yet live in victory because the enemy was defeated? What does that look like for us?
Yeah. Well, the accusations, while they're still happening technically because the world doesn't stop being evil, we are able to just kind of block those out because we're able to stop living in shame. We're able to get rid of the idea that that is who we are, that shame is who we are. Guilt can point us towards Jesus, but shame keeps us trapped in that, and we don't have to live there anymore.
I love that. Shame keeps us trapped.
Yeah.
Probably one of the greatest lessons that we can even learn from the very start of the book of Job is that the accuser was trying to trap Job
Yeah.
through shame. That's really good.
We can live free. We have freedom. And I was talking earlier about in John chapter 8 when the woman who was actually caught in adultery was brought before Jesus. You know, the people were trying to trap Jesus to say something, but they brought a woman caught in the act of adultery. And the accusers, when Jesus asked the woman, where are they? Are they not condemning you? And she says,
Yeah.
no, not one. And he says, well, neither do I. Even though we stumble and we fall, we have the freedom, we have the salvation and the grace that because of Jesus, we don't have to live in that and be trapped in the shame and the guilt because he doesn't do that.
Right. Yeah, that's good. You can also extend grace.
Yeah.
People who know that they've been forgiven and declared innocent by Christ are a lot slower to accuse others, or at least should be.
Yeah, there's that whole parable about that with the forgiving of the
Yeah.
debts, and the person didn't understand what they had received, so they couldn't share it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really good. And I love the idea of the John 8 passage because that's almost like an example from the Gospels that shows the reality of Revelation 12. Even though it's in a different book entirely, it's showing the reality that Jesus defeated the accuser and that we live free by our testimony, by the way that we live. I know when we were chatting, I said, when I read Revelation 12 and I think about the accuser and I think about the reality of how we live, it always brings me back to that Romans 8 passage where it says, there is now no condemnation for those in Jesus Christ. That the accuser has been defeated.
Yes.
And so as we go through the rest of the book of Job and we see the difficulty that comes from a shattered life, we need to remember the grace you were talking about and the freedom and the fact that we are no longer trapped by that shame. And we need to lean into that as a way that we live and also the way that we extend that to others. I love that idea.
Yes.
Really do.
Important.
So, well, we're really glad that you guys are a part of this. We hope that this little conversation maybe gave you some ideas, some jumping off points, but we want to encourage you guys, work through the table talk. If you're doing this alone, find somebody else, call them up, meet them for coffee, do something. But let's really not just read the Bible, but let's just dig into it and see how it changes who we are as people.